All right, let's take a deep dive into Apple Intelligence, huh?
Sound good.
This new AI system from Apple, it's got everybody talking.
It really does, yeah.
We're looking at two sources today. Got the official press release from Apple, and then we also have a CBS Money Watch article. Kind of covers the release and some of the early reactions.
Yeah, could be interesting to see what people think.
So we'll break down exactly what this Apple Intelligence is, and then we'll get into the features, what's available now, what's coming soon.
Yeah.
And of course, we got to talk about privacy. Everybody's wondering about that.
Huge topic nowadays.
Absolutely. Okay, so right off the bat, the press release opens with this quote from Tim Cook, right? He calls it, and I quote, a new era.
Big words.
It does sound kind of grand, doesn't it? What do you think when you hear that?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like a big shift, in how we use our devices.
Oh, interesting. What?
Not just voice commands anymore,
Yeah.
but this is different.
Okay, yeah.
Apple's calling it a personal intelligence system, and it's all about how Apple's chips are going to understand language and images. So your device will practically take action for you.
Makes it sound really smart. Almost, yeah. And then they keep saying, generative AI done the Apple way. So what's so special about their way, you think?
Well, you hit the nail on the head earlier. It's the privacy focus.
Right.
They're doing a lot of this processing right on your device, not in the cloud like some others.
Okay, yeah.
And for stuff that needs the cloud, they have this thing called private cloud compute
Private cloud compute, huh?
that's supposed to protect your data, even when it's not on your phone.
So basically they're saying powerful AI, but keep your data safe.
That's the goal.
Okay, enough with the philosophy. Let's talk about what it can do today.
Okay, so they've rolled out some pretty impressive stuff right out of the gate.
Okay, like what? What caught your eye?
The system-wide writing tools.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
They really put some thought into how people communicate on their devices.
Totally, yeah.
You can adjust the tone of any piece of writing, like instantly.
No.
Casual to professional, back and forth.
Yeah.
And when you're proofreading, it'll actually explain the grammar and spelling suggestions.
Oh, wow. That's handy.
Plus, it can summarize any document, no matter how long. And you can choose the format you want.
All without leaving the app you're in, right?
Exactly.
So it's like having an editor and a writing coach, like, built in?
Basically, yeah. I think it'll be huge for anyone who writes a lot.
Professionals, students.
Everyone, yeah.
I'm sold, for sure.
And don't forget Siri.
Oh, right. Feels like they've finally fixed all the annoying things.
Well, they've tried, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds more natural now. You can even type to it if you want.
Really? Wow.
And get this. They actually gave it some product knowledge.
What do you mean?
You can ask it specific questions about your Apple stuff, and it'll actually give you a straight answer.
Oh, thank goodness. No more being sent to some random web page, huh?
Hopefully not, no.
That was one of the biggest complaints in that CBS Money Watch article, actually. People are excited about that.
Well, yeah, it's about time.
I know, right? Okay, let's talk about photos. These updates blew my mind.
Yeah, the Photos app got a huge upgrade.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Scrolling forever trying to find one specific photo.
Happens all the time.
But now you can search using like normal language, and it works for videos too.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Say you want all the photos of your dog playing fetch at the beach. You just type that in.
No way.
Apple Intelligence finds them. No more remembering dates or locations.
That's amazing. Like truly useful AI, right?
It really uses AI to understand what you're looking for.
Oh, and no more photo bombers. There's this cleanup tool that gets rid of distraction.
Click place.
But the best part, you can create those memory movies just by typing a description.
Wait, what?
Like, you could type heartwarming video of our family vacation set to upbeat music.
And it'll just do it.
Picks the best photos and videos, creates the storyline, adds music based on your description.
Wow. That's like having a personal video editor, huh?
Right. It knows your style, what you like.
Pretty incredible.
Okay, so those are some of the coolest features, at least for me. But Apple Intelligence isn't just about being creative, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
It's about handling the insane amount of information we all deal with every day.
It's like they're trying to help us stay focused in this crazy world.
Exactly. Like, how many times do you scroll through hundreds of emails to find something important?
Too many.
Now they have priority messages in Mail.
So it pulls the important stuff right to the top.
Exactly. No more missing that crucial email. Plus, they're doing these summaries for super long email threads.
That's actually really helpful.
You don't even have to open them. And it's not just email. They're tackling all those notifications we get.
Oh, man, those are the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you get notification summaries. so you can quickly scan a whole bunch at once.
That's a much better system, yeah.
Instead of feeling like your phone's constantly buzzing.
Like you're being attacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're really trying to help with our digital well-being here.
It's definitely a trend in tech right now.
Yeah,
Like being more mindful of how we use our devices.
makes sense. And they have this new focus mode that's designed to block all interruptions.
Like a superpowered do not disturb.
Exactly. Imagine complete silence when you need to concentrate.
Or just peace and quiet even.
Right, like a superpower against all those digital demands.
It's all about getting control of your attention, right?
Totally. And I thought this was cool. You can now record audio, transcribe it, and even summarize it all in Notes and the phone app.
Wow. So it's like having a secretary who takes notes and summarizes everything.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And when you record a phone call, everyone's automatically notified. And Apple Intelligence makes a summary afterward.
That's kind of scary, but also amazing.
Right. I mean, think about how helpful that could be for professionals or students.
Definitely. It's like the device is becoming a personal assistant.
Totally. And get this. These features are just the beginning. There's a whole bunch of new stuff coming in December and beyond.
Oh, wow.
It's like way beyond what we're even thinking possible with AI right now.
What? Okay, I'm definitely on the edge of my seat now.
So how about this? You can create custom emojis just by describing them.
What?
Yeah. They're calling it Genmoji creation.
Hold on, so you could finally have emojis that actually represent you.
Exactly. You can even personalize them using someone's photo.
This could be the end of boring emojis. Finally.
I know, right? And then there's Image Playground and Image Wand.
What are those?
You can take a rough sketch, like a doodle, and turn it into this really cool image.
Really?
And it understands the context of your sketch, too. Like, it's smart about it.
Whoa, okay. So you could literally bring your notes to life with illustrations.
That's the idea. It's all about using AI for creative stuff, too, not just work and productivity.
Yeah, it's about expression. I like that.
But they haven't forgotten about, like, the power of knowledge either.
Right, okay.
They're actually integrating ChatGPT into the whole system.
Right.
You'll be able to access it within writing tools in Siri.
That's huge. Like all that knowledge right at your fingertips.
Exactly. But the most mind-blowing update, coming in December, new visual intelligence with camera control.
Okay, that sounds intense.
This one's only for the iPhone 16, though. But it's going to change how we interact with, like, the whole world around us.
What do you mean?
Imagine pointing your camera at a landmark and it tells you the history. Or you look at some text and it translates it in real time.
Whoa, hold on. Just by looking at it.
Yep. And you can even access other tools like Google Search or ChatGPT to solve problems right there on the spot.
So it's like your phone becomes this window
Yeah.
to a deeper understanding of everything.
Right. And it's all powered by AI.
Mind-blowing.
Oh, and don't forget, priority notifications are coming too.
Mm.
And a way more powerful, context-aware Siri.
Wow, they're not holding back at all.
Clearly, Apple's just getting started with this whole Apple Intelligence thing.
It's a pretty exciting time to be watching all this AI stuff unfold.
It really is. But let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Privacy.
Yeah, gotta address that.
We all know AI systems need data. And Apple's way of doing things, it's got people curious.
People are skeptical, understandably so.
How are they going to make sure our data stays safe?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. They keep saying they're doing things differently. On-device processing, that makes sense. But this private cloud compute thing, can you explain that a little more?
Sure. So imagine you need to bake a cake, but your kitchen is too small.
Okay.
So you rent a bigger kitchen for a few hours, bake your cake, and leave without a trace. That's kind of like private cloud compute.
Okay, so my phone is the small kitchen.
Yeah. And Apple servers are the bigger one you rent. When your device can't handle the task, Apple Intelligence sends your data to these super secure servers. But it's never stored there.
So even when my data goes to the cloud, it's still protected.
Exactly. It's just used to complete your request and then it's gone. Poof!
And how do we know they're actually doing that?
Well, that's where the independent experts come in.
Okay, yeah.
Apple's letting these experts actually look at the code on their servers to verify that they're keeping their privacy promises.
So it's like independent auditors making sure everything's above board.
Exactly. It's a step towards more transparency in this whole AI world.
Now, about that ChatGPT integration.
Right. You can choose whether to enable it or not.
So if I don't, none of my data goes to OpenAI.
Nope. You can still use all the other features without touching ChatGPT.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if I do want to use ChatGPT? What happens then?
Two options. You can access it for free without an account, and Apple has some extra privacy protections in place. They hide your IP address, and OpenAI doesn't keep your requests.
Okay, so it's still private, even though I'm using it.
Exactly. Now, the other option is to connect your ChatGPT account.
Yeah.
More personalized, deeper integration, all that. But OpenAI's own data policies will apply. So,
Okay.
read the fine print.
So it's all about choosing what I'm comfortable with, data-wise.
Exactly. You're in control.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about the good, the bad, the privacy stuff. Apple Intelligence can make us more efficient, more creative, even help us manage all the information overload.
It's definitely a powerful tool with a ton of potential.
But there's this one thing I keep thinking about.
What's that?
All these tools are great for making things easier. But what about our own critical thinking skills?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Like, if we're always getting AI to summarize things for us, are we going to lose the ability to, dig in and figure things out ourselves?
It's a valid concern.
Right, we can't just let our brains turn to mush.
Critical thinking is still super important.
So how do we find the balance? How do we get all the good stuff from AI without becoming, mentally lazy?
I think it comes down to awareness.
Mm.
We have to be intentional about how we use these tools.
Yeah, sometimes we got to force ourselves to not hit that summarize button.
Exactly. Read the whole thing, come up with our own takeaways.
Right. And even when we do use AI, think of it as a starting point,
Okay, yeah.
not the end of the story.
I like that.
Yeah.
So AI can do the research, but we're still the ones thinking critically, making judgments.
Exactly. AI is a tool, and it's up to us to use it right,
Yeah.
responsibly.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not about rejecting the technology. It's about figuring out how to make it work for us.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Right. And these conversations are important. The more AI evolves, the more we got to talk about this stuff.
Definitely. So back to those privacy safeguards. On-device processing, that's clear. But this private cloud compute thing, can you break that down a little more? It still sounds kind of magical to me.
Sure. Imagine you need to bake a cake, but your kitchen is too small for all the equipment.
So you rent a bigger kitchen for a few hours, bake your cake, and leave without a trace of your recipe behind.
So basically, my phone is the small kitchen,
Exactly.
and Apple's servers are the bigger one I can temporarily rent.
Precisely. When a task needs more power than your device can handle, Apple Intelligence sends your data to those secure servers. But the key is, your data is never stored there. It's only used for that one task.
Okay, so even when my data goes to the cloud, it's still protected.
That's the promise.
And how can we be sure Apple's keeping their word? How do we know our data's really disappeared?
That's where those independent experts come in, remember?
Right.
They get to check the code on those servers, make sure everything's legit.
It's like having someone watching over Apple's shoulder, making sure they're not peeking at our data.
Exactly. More accountability, more transparency, which is super important with all this AI stuff.
Definitely. Now, about that ChatGPT integration, you said we can choose whether or not to enable it.
That's right.
So, walk me through that decision. What are the implications either way?
Okay, so if you choose not to enable ChatGPT, none of your data goes to OpenAI
Yeah.
at all.
So I can still use all the Apple Intelligence features, I just don't get access to ChatGPT's knowledge base.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if I do want to use that knowledge base? What happens then?
Well, you've got two options. You can
Okay.
access it for free without making an account.
Okay.
And in that case, Apple's got some extra privacy things in place.
Oh, okay. Like what?
They hide your IP address, and OpenAI doesn't save your requests. So it's like you were never there.
So I'm basically using ChatGPT anonymously.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. What's the other option?
You can connect your actual ChatGPT account. That gives you a more personalized experience, deeper integration,
Right.
all that.
Right.
It also means OpenAI's own data policies apply, so you definitely want to read those carefully before you connect.
Okay, so it's all about choosing my comfort level, data-wise. I like that Apple's given us that choice. Feels more respectful of our privacy,
Totally. Puts you in control.
Yeah.
Which is how it should be.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits, the risks, the privacy stuff. Apple Intelligence can make us more efficient, more creative, even help us manage all this crazy information overload.
It's definitely a powerful tool with tons of potential.
But there's still this big question lingering in my mind.
What's that?
Even with all the safeguards Apple's talking about, we got to think about the bigger picture, the societal impact of all this.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Even with the best intentions, there's that potential for bias. We talked about that a little.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. It could affect how these technologies are used, who benefits from them. Could even make things worse for some people.
And it's kind of scary to think that AI could end up making existing biases even stronger.
It's a real concern.
Yeah.
And it highlights the need for constant vigilance.
Hmm.
We got to make sure these AI systems are fair, transparent, accountable.
So it's not enough to just sit back and let this technology happen. We got to be actively involved in shaping how it develops.
Exactly. And that responsibility falls on everyone. The tech companies, the people making the policies,
Mm.
even everyday users like us.
Right. We all have a role to play. Now, there was something in that CBS Money Watch article that kind of freaked me out.
Oh, what was that?
They quoted someone who was worried about Apple intelligence being used for, like, malicious purposes.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a valid concern. Any tool can be misused,
Mm.
especially a powerful one like AI.
Right. Like, we've already seen deep fakes, misinformation.
Even autonomous weapons. It's not a pretty picture.
It feels like we're stepping into this unknown territory, and we don't really know what the long-term consequences are going to be.
That's true. But I think it's important to remember that AI is ultimately a reflection of us. Humans created it. So it's going to depend on how we choose to use it.
So it comes back to ethics and responsibility again.
Exactly. We can't just focus on the cool features and the potential benefits. We got to talk about the risks too and figure out how to prevent those risks from becoming reality. It's not about stopping innovation. It's about making sure AI is a force for good.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, last question. Big picture stuff. How do you think Apple Intelligence is going to change the relationship between humans and technology?
Ooh, that's a good one, I think. We're moving towards a future where technology becomes more and more a part of us, like an extension of ourselves.
Yeah.
And AI is going to be a huge part of that. Yeah, it's already happening, right? Think about our smartphones.
Oh, totally. We use them for everything. Communication, maps,
We're
entertainment.
practically an extra limb at this point.
Right, like I'd be lost without mine.
And with AI systems like Apple Intelligence, they're going to get even smarter, more intuitive.
Yeah, they'll basically know us better than we know ourselves.
They'll learn our habits, figure out what we want, might even help us make decisions.
Okay, that's a little, I don't know.
It's kind of like a symbiotic relationship almost.
Oh, biotic, huh?
But we got to be careful. We can't become too dependent on technology, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what happens to our own brains?
Exactly. We can't let tech do all the thinking for us. Got to keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
Right. Use it to enhance our abilities, not replace them.
Exactly. AI has so much potential,
Right.
but ultimately, it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
I think that's a great point to end on. This deep dive into Apple Intelligence, it's been pretty mind-blowing.
Definitely a lot to think about.
So many possibilities, but
Yeah.
so many questions, too.
It's a conversation that's just getting started, really.
Now, we want to hear from you. What are you most excited about? What are your concerns? What do you think the future holds for AI?
Yeah, chime in. Let us know your thoughts.
We're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take all of us to figure this out.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll keep exploring these topics and keep you updated as AI keeps changing the world.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious.